My son slapped the eviction notice on the kitchen island I built with my own hands, telling me I had 30 days to clear out so he could liquidate his mother's legacy. He was so busy measuring the square footage for the listing that he didn't realize the deed he was waving around legally made him my servant for the rest of my life. I didn't say a word. I just stared at the paper. Notice to vacate. Printed on standard copy paper, no stamp, just a template he probably downloaded off LegalZoom 5 minutes after the funeral. Tyler didn't even look at me. He was tapping away on his iPad, walking around the kitchen in his Italian loafers, shoes that cost more than my first truck. "We're listing at $34 million, he said, not asking me, telling me. "Market is hot. Developers are hungry for this much acreage in the valley. But we need to stage it. That recliner needs to go. And the smell. God, Dad, does it always smell like sawdust in here?" He stopped tapping and finally looked at me. His eyes weren't sad. They were calculating. "Look," he said, putting on that fake, pitying voice he uses when he wants something. "I know this is hard. Mom just passed. But the estate is complicated. The taxes are going to be a nightmare. I'm doing you a favor, really. You can't maintain this place. It's too much for one old man." "I built this place," I said. My voice sounded rusty. I hadn't spoken in hours. "And it's a great house," he said, dismissive. "But the land is the value. The developers want to subdivide. 6 lots, maybe 7. We're talking generational wealth, Dad. Mom would have wanted that." He dropped the bombshell casually, like he was ordering lunch. "I've got a condo picked out for you, near the nursing center on 4th. Smaller, easier to clean. You'll like it." He checked his watch. A Rolex Daytona. Gold. "I have the stagers coming Tuesday. Make sure your personal effects are boxed up by then. Anything left behind goes in the skip." He turned to leave. He didn't hug me. He didn't ask how I was grieving the woman I'd been married to for 30 years, even if we had been divorced for the last 10. He just walked out the front door, the mahogany door I hand-carved in 1992, and drove away in his Porsche. I stood there in the silence. $34 million. That was the number. But here's the thing. He wasn't doing this for generational wealth. He wasn't doing it because the taxes were high. I walked over to the window and watched his dust settle on the driveway. I knew about the gambling debts. I knew about the failed crypto hedge fund. I knew my son was drowning in red ink, and he looked at his mother's death not as a tragedy, but as a liquidity event. He thought he had won the lottery. He had no idea he'd just signed up to be my butler. The next morning, I sat on the back porch. The sun was coming up over the ridge. I planted those oaks along the property line 20 years ago. I dug the pond myself. Every beam, every joint, every stone in this house had my sweat in it. Eleanor and I, we had our problems. She came from old money, real money, railroad money. I was a contractor, a guy with a toolbox and calloused hands. Her family hated me, said I was a gold digger. But Eleanor, she loved that I could build things. She loved that I didn't care about the country club. When the divorce happened, it was messy. Not because we hated each other, but because her family got involved. They wanted to strip me of everything. They wanted to make sure the help didn't walk away with the family silver. I didn't want the money. I just wanted the house. Not the estate, just the house and the 10 acres around it. The place where I raised Tyler. The place where I taught him to ride a bike before he decided he was too good for dirt. Eleanor fought for me. She defied her brothers. She said, "Frank built it. Frank keeps it." But her lawyers were sharks. They structured it in a way that satisfied the trust. Technically, the title remained in the family trust, which meant when Eleanor died last week, the trust dissolved and the assets passed to the sole beneficiary, Tyler. He knew that part. He knew the title went to him. What he didn't know, because he never listened to his mother, and he certainly never listened to me, was the specific condition Eleanor insisted on. I took a sip of black coffee. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "Stagers coming at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be there. It makes them uncomfortable." Uncomfortable? I was a squatter in his eyes, an inconvenience, a stain on the asset. I stood up and walked to the safe in the study. The combination was still the same. Right to 19, left to 87, right to 05. The year we met, the year we married, the year Tyler was born. I pulled out the heavy manila envelope. It smelled like old paper and lavender, Eleanor's perfume. I didn't need a lawyer to tell me what it said. I was there when we signed it. I held her hand when she told her shark lawyers, "Add it, or I fire you all." But Tyler saw the world through dollar signs and status updates. He saw a $34 million price tag. He didn't see the legal landmines. I opened the document. Deed of Transfer and Trust Dissolution Protocol. I flipped past the legalese, past the property descriptions, past the tax ID numbers, and there it was. Page 9, Paragraph 4, Section B. The grantor, Eleanor Vance, hereby reserves for Francis Vance, the life tenant, a hideous and absolute life estate in the primary residence and surrounding curtilage. Wait, not hideous, exclusive. My eyes were blurring. I needed my reading glasses. I put them on and read it again. An exclusive life estate, granting full rights of possession, use, and quiet enjoyment for the duration of his natural life. The remainderman, Tyler Vance, shall hold no right of entry nor right to lease, sell, or encumber the property during the life tenant's life. And then the kicker, the part Eleanor added because she knew her son better than he knew himself. The remainderman shall be solely responsible for all property taxes, major structural repairs, insurance premiums, and maintenance costs necessary to preserve the asset's value. I sat back. Tyler owned the house, technically, but he couldn't live in it, he couldn't sell it, he couldn't kick me out, and he had to pay for everything. He was legally obligated to maintain my lifestyle until the day I died. And judging by my grandfather, who lived to be 102, that was going to be a very long time. I could have called him right then. I could have texted him a photo of page 9 and ended it. But then I remembered the eviction notice. 30 days. He gave his own father 30 days to pack up 30 years of life. I remembered the condo he picked out. I looked it up on my phone. It wasn't a condo. It was an assisted living facility. 1 star on Yelp. Smells like bleach and despair, one review said. He wasn't just kicking me out. He was warehousing me. He was throwing me away so he could cash out. No, a phone call wasn't enough. I needed him to commit. I needed him to dig the hole so deep he couldn't climb out. I put the deed back in the safe. I went to the kitchen and made a sandwich. Ham and cheese, simple. Then I drove to town. I didn't go to my usual lawyer, old Mr. Henderson. Henderson was too nice. He tried to mediate. He tried to heal families. I went to a guy I knew from my contracting days, Saul. Saul was a pit bull in a cheap suit. His office was in a strip mall next to a vape shop. He didn't have inspirational posters on his wall. He had a framed picture of a shark eating a smaller shark. "Frank," Saul said, leaning back in a chair that groaned under his weight, "You look like you've seen a ghost." "My son is evicting me," I said. Saul raised an eyebrow. "The one with the Porsche?" "The one with the Porsche." I explained the situation. I told him about the notice, the threats, the developers. "Does he have the deed?" Saul asked. "He thinks he does," I said. "He has the trust documents showing he's the beneficiary. He has the death certificate." "And you?" I slid a photocopy of page 9 across his cluttered desk. Saul picked it up. He squinted. He chewed on the end of a pen. Then he stopped chewing. He looked up at me. A slow, wicked grin spread across his face. "Oh," Saul whispered. "Oh, this is beautiful." "Is it airtight?" I asked. "Airtight?" Saul laughed. It sounded like gravel in a blender. "Frank, this isn't just airtight. This is a titanium cage. Exclusive life estate. Do you know what exclusive means in this county? It means he can't even step onto the lawn without your permission. If he does, it's trespassing." He read further. "And he has to pay the taxes?" Saul whistled. "On a $34 million estate. What's the annual bill on that? 400 grand? 422,000, I said, last year. Saul slapped the desk. "This kid is going to be bleeding cash just to let you live like a king." "He doesn't know," I said. "Clearly." "I don't want to tell him yet," I said. Saul's eyes narrowed. He leaned in. "What do you want to do?" "He's bringing stagers tomorrow," I said. "He's listing it next week. He's already spent the money in his head. I want him to feel it, Saul. I want him to sign the listing agreement. I want him to bring the buyers. I want him to be at the closing table." Saul nodded slowly. "You want the projector moment." "The what?" "The moment where he's projected his entire future, the cars, the boats, the freedom, and you snap the film." "Exactly." "All right," Saul said, cracking his knuckles. "Here's what we do. We go gray rock. You know what that is?" I shook my head. "You become a rock, boring, unresponsive, compliant but confused. You don't fight him. If you fight, he gets suspicious. He checks the paperwork. You agree to everything. You act defeated. You act old." I felt a twinge of pride hurt. "I can act old." "Good," Saul said. "Let him hang himself. When is the listing going live?" "He wants it on Zillow by Friday." "Perfect," Saul said. "Let him list it. Let him accept an offer. Let him get to the point where he's popping champagne." I stood up to leave. "One more thing," Saul said. "Does he have keys?" "He has a set. Change the locks," Saul said, "tonight. If he has a key, he has access. If he breaks in after you change them, that's breaking and entering. We need a police report to document the hostility." "He's my son, Saul." "No," Saul said, his voice hard. "Right now, he's your landlord, and a bad one. Treat him accordingly." I went to the hardware store, bought 3 deadbolts, heavy duty, the kind used on commercial warehouses. I spent that evening installing them. The sound of the drill whining into the doorframe was therapeutic. Then I waited. The gray rock phase began the next morning. Tyler showed up at 8:50 a.m. with a woman in a sharp blazer, the stager. He tried his key in the front door. It didn't turn. He jiggled it, tried again. Then he pounded on the door. "Dad, open the door." I waited a full minute before opening it. I wore my old bathrobe. I made sure my hair was messy. I squinted like I had just woken up. "Tyler," I mumbled, "what time is it?" "It's 9 o'clock, Dad. Why are the locks changed?" He was furious. His face was red, contrasting with his white linen shirt. "Oh," I said, rubbing my eyes, "the key was sticking. I thought, well, I just fixed it. Did I do it wrong?" "You changed the locks?" He pushed past me into the foyer. "You can't do that. This is my house." "I'm sorry," I said, looking at the floor. "I just wanted to be safe." The stager was looking at the peeling paint in the hallway, paint I was supposed to fix but never got around to. She wrinkled her nose. "It smells rustic," she said. "We're gutting this floor anyway," Tyler snapped. He turned to me. "Dad, go upstairs. Stay out of the way. Sharon needs to measure the sight lines." "Okay," I said softly. I'll go pack my books." I shuffled up the stairs. I didn't pack a single book. I sat in my bedroom, the master suite with the balcony overlooking the valley, and listened. I heard them downstairs. "This kitchen is a disaster," Sharon said. "Granite is so 2005. We need to rip all this out, put in quartz, Waterfall Island." "How much?" Tyler asked. "To stage it properly and do the minor renos to get your asking price? Maybe 50,000. 50? Tyler's voice went up an octave. "You want 34 million, you spend 50,000, Sharon said. "Invest to impress." Silence. Then Tyler spoke. "Fine, put it on the card. I'll pay it off when we close." I smiled. He didn't have $50,000. He was putting it on credit. He was betting everything on this sale. For the next 2 weeks, I played the part. Tyler sent contractors. I let them in. I watched them paint over the custom mural Eleanor and I painted in the nursery. That hurt. That actually hurt. But I didn't say a word. I watched them tear out the rose bushes I planted for our 10th anniversary because they cluttered the view. I sat on the porch and drank my coffee while they sanitized my life. Every night, I wrote down what happened in a notebook. Tuesday, removed rose bushes. Cost approx $2,000. Wednesday, repainted dining room, greige. Cost approx $1,500. Thursday, Tyler screamed at landscaper for being slow. I also did some digging. I have a buddy, Mike, who works in finance. I asked him to look into Tyler's situation, just to be sure. Mike called me back on a Tuesday night. "Frank, it's bad," Mike said. "He's leveraged to the hilt. He borrowed hard money, loan shark rates, to cover the margin calls on his crypto mess. He owes $1.2 million due in 90 days. If he doesn't pay, they take his condo, his car, everything." 90 days? I asked. "Less now, maybe 60. He's banking on this house sale to save his life, Frank, literally." It made sense now. The rush, the aggression. He was terrified. But fear makes you stupid, and Tyler was panic blind. The for sale sign went up on a Friday. It was massive. Luxury estate, development opportunity. Tyler came by that afternoon. He was buzzing, manic energy. "We have a showing," he said, "Sunday. A developer from Dubai, cash buyer. They want to see the full potential." "That's nice," I said. I was polishing my boots. "I need you gone, Dad," he said. "Not upstairs. Gone. Go to the park. Go to a movie. I don't want you here spooking the buyer." "Okay," I said. "I'll go for a drive." "And the boxes?" He looked around. "Why aren't there more boxes?" "I'm slow," I said. "My back." "Hire movers," he yelled. "God, do I have to do everything?" He pulled out his phone. "I'm booking movers for Monday. You're out. Monday, done." "Okay, Tyler." "Don't okay, Tyler me. Just be gone on Sunday." Sunday came. I put on my best suit, the charcoal one I wore to Eleanor's funeral. I put on my polished boots. I waited until I saw the black SUVs pull up the long driveway. 3 of them. Tyler was there in his Porsche, greeting them. He was shaking hands, laughing, pointing at the architecture. They were walking toward the front door. I wasn't at the park. I wasn't at a movie. I was sitting in the high-backed leather chair in the center of the living room, facing the door. I had a small table next to me. On it was a bottle of whiskey, 2 glasses, and the deed. I heard the key turn. The door opened. "And this," Tyler's voice boomed, "is the grand foyer. The light here is spectacular in the afternoon. You can see the potential for the atrium." He stepped in. The buyers followed, 3 men in expensive suits. And then they saw me, sitting there, like a king on a throne. Tyler froze. "Dad," he hissed, "what are you doing here? I told you to leave." The buyers looked at Tyler, then at me. "I live here," I said. My voice was calm, steady. It carried through the empty room. "He's just leaving," Tyler said quickly, turning to the buyers with a frantic smile. "My father, he's having a hard time letting go. Senile, you know, confused." He walked toward me. "Get up," he whispered. "Get up, or I swear to God." "I'm not confused, Tyler," I said. I picked up the document. "And I'm not leaving." "Excuse us one moment," Tyler said to the buyers. He grabbed my arm. "You are ruining a $34 million deal. Get out, now." I pulled my arm away. "Gentlemen," I said to the buyers, "my name is Frank Vance." "Dad, shut up!" Tyler screamed. The mask slipped. "I suggest you read this before you make an offer," I said, holding up page 9. One of the buyers, the tall one, stepped forward. He looked at Tyler's panic, then at me. He was a businessman. He smelled blood. He took the paper. "Tyler tried to snatch it. That's private family business." The buyer ignored him. He put on his glasses. He read. He paused. He read it again. Then he looked at Tyler. The look wasn't friendly. It was the look you give a waiter who just spilled soup on your lap. "Mr. Vance," the buyer said to Tyler, "is this document authentic?" It's old paperwork," Tyler stammered. "It doesn't mean anything. The trust is dissolved." "The trust is dissolved," the buyer agreed, "but the life estate is recorded on the deed transfer." He looked at me. "Sir, do you intend to vacate this property?" "No," I said. "I intend to live here until I die, and my doctor says I have the heart of a 20-year-old. The buyer handed the paper back to me. "Tyler," the buyer said, his voice was ice, "you brought us here to bid on a property you cannot sell." "I can sell it," Tyler shouted. "I own the title." "You own a future interest," the buyer corrected, "a future interest that vests only upon this gentleman's death. We develop land, Mr. Vance. We don't run geriatric waiting games." "I can fix this," Tyler pleaded. "I can get him out." "Legally?" the buyer asked. "It says here he has exclusive possession." The buyer turned to his associates. "Let's go. This is a waste of time." "Wait!" Tyler ran after them. "We can work something out, a discount." The tall man stopped at the door. He looked at the for sale flyers on the table. "You tried to sell us an encumbered asset without disclosure," he said. "That's fraud, Tyler. Don't call us again." The door slammed. Silence returned to the house. Tyler stood there, staring at the door. His shoulders were shaking. Then he turned to me. "You," he choked out, "you ruined it." "No," I said. "You did." He marched toward me, his face purple. "I own this house. It's mine. Mom left it to me." "She left the title to you," I said. "She left the home to me." "I'll evict you," he screamed. He picked up a vase, one of Eleanor's favorites, and threw it. It shattered against the fireplace. "I'll drag you out of here." "Call the police," I said. "Go ahead. Tell them you're trying to remove a tenant with a recorded life estate." He paced the room, hands in his hair. "I need this money, Dad. You don't understand. I need it." "I know about the loans, Tyler." He stopped. "What?" "The $1.2 million. The hard money lenders. I know." He collapsed onto the sofa, the one he wanted to throw away. He put his head in his hands. "They're going to kill me," he whispered, "if I don't pay." "Then you should have gotten a job instead of playing venture capitalist with money you didn't have," I said. "I know about the loans, Tyler." He stopped. "What?" "The 1.2 million, the hard money lenders, I know." He collapsed onto the sofa, the one he wanted to throw away. He put his head in his hands. "They're going to kill me," he whispered, "if I don't pay." "Then you should have gotten a job instead of playing venture capitalist with money you didn't have," I said. I poured myself a whiskey. I didn't pour him one. "Here is how this works," I said. I stood up. I wasn't the old man anymore. I was the father. I was the man who built the roof over his head. You are the owner. Congratulations. That means you are responsible for the taxes. Tyler looked up. "I can't pay the taxes. I have no cash flow." "That's a problem," I said, "because if you default on the taxes, the county puts a lien on your asset, not mine. I still get to live here." "You have to pay rent," he said weakly. "Fair market value." "Read the clause again," I said. "Rent-free, exclusive use." He stared at me. The reality was setting in, the weight of it. "I'm broke, Dad." "Then sell the Porsche," I said. "Sell the condo. Get a job." "You're enjoying this," he spat. "Enjoying it?" I looked around the room, at the shattered vase, at the empty spots where my rose bushes used to be. "My wife died," I said. "My son tried to throw me in a nursing home before the dirt was settled on her grave. He stripped my home. He treated me like garbage." I walked over to him. "I'm not enjoying this, Tyler. I'm teaching you the lesson I should have taught you 20 years ago. You don't get to skip the work, and you don't get to throw people away." He started to cry, not the fake manipulative tears, real, terrified sobbing. "What do I do?" he asked, like a child. "You leave," I said. "What?" "Get out of my house. You have no right of entry. It says so right there. Exclusive possession." "But—" "Get out," I said. "Come back when you have the tax bill. I'll let you know if I have any maintenance requests." He looked at me, waiting for me to crack, waiting for me to be the nice dad who bailed him out of military school, the dad who paid off his first 3 credit cards. I took a sip of whiskey. He stood up. He wiped his face. He looked small. He walked to the door. "You're a monster," he said. "I am a life tenant," I corrected. "Close the door on your way out." The aftermath wasn't quick. It was a slow burn. Tyler tried to sue. Of course he did. He found a lawyer dumb enough to take the case. We went to court 3 months later. It took the judge exactly 10 minutes to dismiss it. "Mr. Vance," the judge said to Tyler's lawyer, "this life estate clause is boilerplate. It is ironclad. Your client accepted the inheritance with the conditions attached. He cannot cherry-pick the assets and discard the liabilities." Then the judge looked at Tyler. "And might I add," the judge said, peering over his glasses, "attempting to evict your grieving father is a moral failing that this court finds deeply distasteful. Case dismissed with prejudice." Tyler had to pay my legal fees. That was the final nail. The creditors came for him. He lost the Porsche, he lost his condo, he had to move into a rented studio apartment in the bad part of town. He got a job. He works at a car dealership now, not selling the cars, detailing them, washing them. It's honest work. It might actually save him. As for me, I'm sitting on my porch. I replanted the rose bushes. They're small, but they'll grow. The house is quiet, but it's a good quiet. The smell of sawdust is back. I'm building a new bookshelf for the library. Every 6 months, I send a certified letter to Tyler. It contains the property tax bill and a list of necessary repairs. Last week, the roof sprang a leak. I hired a contractor, a good one, not cheap. I sent the invoice to Tyler. He called me. "Dad," he said. He sounded tired, humble. "I can't afford the slate tiles. Can we do asphalt shingles?" "The deed requires you to maintain the property in its original condition," I said. "Slate tiles, Tyler." He sighed, a long, heavy sigh. "Okay," he said. I'll pick up extra shifts." "Good," I said. "Make sure they match the existing color." I hung up. I looked out over the valley. The sun was setting, turning the sky a bruised purple. Some people might think I'm being cruel. Some people might say, "He's your son, help him." But I am helping him. For the first time in his life, Tyler is learning what a dollar costs. He's learning that you can't just take what you want. He's learning that actions have consequences. He owns a $34 million estate, and he's washing cars to pay for the roof over my head. I took a sip of my coffee. It tasted like justice, and a little bit like slate tiles. I plan on living a very, very long time.